Hey, hi. This is Matthew Brandt from Brandt AI, and I thought I'd just make this first simple YouTube video for the YouTube channel, and just to talk about some of the things we've been working on now. I actually realized about 3 months ago, or even longer, that I should be recording a multitude of the calls I've been having with various developers. Many of these guys are just brilliant, and the things we were talking about were really awe-striking, is that a word? As it relates to a business person's perspective, to a CEO's perspective. And I was thinking, my God, if CEOs could see this, they'd be blown away by what's possible with AI right now. And this before a lot of the agents that have been popularized over the last months were being talked about. Really, pretty amazing things. Obviously, people like Google and Microsoft and OpenAI, ChatGPT are way ahead of the curve. But what I'm talking about are things that are actually applicable to businesses. And I believe ultimately, and certainly my goal, my effort, my full focus is on making AI products that are transformational to businesses, really uplifting the business processes. I'm uh, I'm 62 right now, and I started in high performance business building when I was 24, roughly. So almost 40 years now, I've been involved in that as a kind of a common thread in what I've loved to do and what I've done. Oftentimes successfully, not every time. I've had some, well, I'd say catastrophic failures, but like anybody in business, some setbacks and failures. But I'm really rejuvenated in terms of what's available with AI. I've worked with humans my whole career, and creating high performance sales teams is kind of where I started off. And then I started working with scaling up in 2014. I was introduced to it by a man who'd worked with Vern Harnish for more than 10 years at that time. And it's obviously more than 20 years now. And then I got certified as a scaling up practitioner in 2015. And then I decided in 2022, I guess, to become a scaling up coach. I just finished the scaling up coaching curriculum to be certified when I learned about what was being done with AI. And I thought, you know what? I like scaling up coaching, and it's remarkable what it can do with companies. I mean, many companies have grown 10x, 20x, 30x, or a lot more the valuations working with scaling up. But I really thought I want to work with the AI and create the uplift in valuations with AI, because I think if we can do it with humans, which we clearly can, then it's also very, very doable with AI. And it hasn't become reality yet, but we're still in the very, very early days. I uh, I initially thought I would try to do the programming myself. I did Fortran programming back in 1979 when I was 17 years old, and I loved it, and I was fairly good at it. And they used to chase me out of the computer lab at midnight, many nights, because they wanted to close. And then I got away from that and went into business, good or bad. But I was always fascinated by the ability to take an issue, a construct, take it into language, flow chart it, break it down, and then translate that into a programming language. And I understood those constructs from many years ago, before they actually had personal computers, before they had monitors. I mean, I was working on IBM punch cards, that you'd stack hundreds of them in a tray and take them to a mainframe and have them fed in, and you'd get the feedback not on a monitor because those hadn't been invented. You get the feedback on paper fold. Uh, long time ago. I also, one of the reasons I wanted to do what I'm doing now by owning a AI automation agency, and I've spent months putting together what I believe to be a phenomenal team that has extended reach into hundreds of developers now. about 25 at the core level and 5 or 6 at the real more intimate level. We'll talk more about that. But I shared a story with some of these developers. It's totally true. It was July 4th of 1991. I was in the Sacramento Delta on a big yacht. This yacht was owned by a friend of mine, my friend's father. We were tied up next to another yacht that was much bigger, and that was a friend of the father's. That was one of the father's friends, and I didn't know the guy at all, but he owned a chip manufacturer from Silicon Valley and was making great money. And on one of the nights, we had a dinner on their yacht. It's a great big table, probably 10 or 15 of us, I guess, and real nice dinner. And the guy I sat next to was an old guy. He was probably 60. I was, I guess I would have been 30. And he asked me what I did. And I told him we owned a joint venture in Taiwan at the time. And then I asked him what he did. And he said, we're about to start something called the internet. And I said, okay. And he talked for about an hour, at least an hour, about what was coming. He said, it's currently military technology, it's global. It's going to enable people to do phone calls for free. And at the time, we were paying $2, $3 a minute to talk to Taiwan, and big phone bills some months, I mean, thousands of dollars. He said, there'll be these things called websites. He talked about everything. And he said, it's going to be another period of time before we release it, but we're going to release it. And I, for whatever reason, didn't ask his name and didn't get his number, but I kept looking. I've got a decent memory. So 1992, I looked for the internet, never heard anything. 93, no. 94, no. I think it was 95, like mid 95. And actually, during that period, I began creating essentially what was email. I did it in 1990, actually. I was creating sending Word documents by FTP, file transfer protocols on business trips around the world to the headquarters for the company I was working with, and we were doing it, basically in ways that the average person had no idea. Anyways, about 95, I started hearing about the internet, and by 96, 97, it just blew up. I didn't have any interest ever in e-commerce, probably foolishly, but I just never did. But now, even though I'm in the final chapters, let's say, of life, I don't plan on missing this one. I miss the internet, but I want to do as much as I can to help businesses integrate and really experience what I believe will be transformational value from using artificial intelligence technology. We've developed several products already. They're pretty exciting, although pretty basic. One of them is just a simple agent for a website, so a chat interface. But it's said that the days of point and click are done for websites, and I think it's true. It'll probably take a period of time to really become a reality, but the days of searching many pages and drop downs and looking for the information you want on a website, they're done. Every website that's going to be viable going forward, I believe, will have one of these agents in it or something more advanced. And the agent, for example, the one we've done so far, it's been trained on a very broad number of documents. So the knowledge base that the artificial intelligence draws from is significant. And it also has scraped all the information from the website. The website has quite a bit of information. If I get permission from the party, I'm happy to share it in future videos. I'd like to do so. In fact, I think I'd like to have her on here and talk about the experience, because it's been fun, I think, for all of us. And we've now done, I guess, about 4 calls with the developers over the course of 3 months. We had a false start with the first developers that promised the moon and couldn't develop, and we had to get rid of them and pivot into another set of developers. We've had 2 or 3 calls with them, and she's really wowed. I mean, she's wowed now and saying this is tremendous. And she's not one to be she's just a straight shooter. She's not one to be generous with inauthentic praise. So she's getting excited by it, and she's actually working in a realm where there's 275 professionals in one group that she's affiliated with as a senior member, and 50,000 of another group. And each one of those constituents could use this also. So there's a lot of scale behind it. But anyways, we've created the text agent, which we can demonstrate right now adequately. We can even send you a link if you want to play with it yourself. Created a voice agent also, an artificial intelligence employee or an artificial intelligence AI agent. And we've been told by multiple people within the industry that it's the best one they've seen so far. The young developer that created it has done a lot of nuanced work that takes it out of the realm of the simple low code, no code realm. And the latency is down to 500 millisecond, which is half a second, which I'm told is what human conversation is typically. A lot of the other more commercial, canned offerings are delays as long as 5 seconds, which is enormous. Even 1 second is awkward. And we've got, working models of that. We're working on a third concept for her as well. Pretty exciting. I think I'll keep that for a future video also, because we haven't really started that build. And then we've got another industrial project that we're doing tomorrow morning. We're teeing up the call with the CEO. And it's an exciting project too. And I think instead of talking about it, I'll keep this video short. I'll stop now. But I hope to be doing interviews with various developers from our core team and others that are service providers within AI. For example, I'm working with two groups right now that create lead generation. B2B is what I'm looking at, obviously. One of them has B2C claims, although I haven't looked at that because I'm not interested personally in B2C, but I understand your businesses are very likely, if not entirely, interested in B2C. The last thing I'll mention is that I'm an investor and I'm looking for companies to acquire either in part or in whole. And I'd like to find businesses that are 5 to 10 years in existence, at least 5, ideally closer to 10. Probably in around the $2 million or so range in terms of a sale price. So not huge companies by any means. The bigger companies, the private equity groups are interested in. There's no sense, you're going to lose every time with those guys. So if you have any interest, if you're retirement age and you'd like to talk about it, or if you want to move and be closer to grandkids and you want to talk about it, or if you have illness in the family, or you just feel like traveling, you've run your business for a lot of years, I'd love to talk to you about that also. I'm interested primarily in media type companies right now. And that's primarily because I want to find media outlets with which I can reach baby boomers that want to retire, essentially. So I know it's a little bit divergent from AI, but the point is I plan on using AI underpinning to help really take these companies to significant new levels, whether I do that in joint ownership with somebody and or as an acquisition where we have the company completely. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Feel free to like the video and subscribe. First time I've ever said that, at least in this context. And hope to be in touch with you again soon.